and welcome to Lifestyle 312. I'm Thomas Ilala Ole.
And I'm Ebony JJ Curry. How was your weekend, Thomas?
It was great. You know, the weather is warming up here in Chicago. People are out and about, and so I just enjoyed the sun.
Yes, same. My weekend was perfect.
Awesome. Let's get right into it. This week kicks off the month of love, diversity, and inclusion. Happy LGBTQIA Pride Month. Since 1970, the month has been recognized in commemoration of the Stonewall Rebellion and the impacts the riot had on society. The riots took place on June 28, 1969. In Chicago, Pride events will be taking place throughout the month. Just ahead of Pride, the painting of rainbow sidewalks in Boys Town makes the area a tourist attraction. I spoke with community members about how these efforts strengthen our community. 14 crosswalks from Melrose to Bradley will be painted in rainbow colors. The initiative was spearheaded by the North Halsted Business Alliance. Eric Santiago from the Alliance says the idea came directly from the community. Jesse Rawson, a transgender man, says since moving to Chicago, he's never lived in a place more accepting of the transgender community.
It's a really nice way to sort of show that that area of town is especially a safe and friendly place for LGBT people to be.
No matter what comes your way, showing pride in who you are makes your story unique. Just like a man in Oak Park who's lost both of his legs but still has a passion to dance. Here's Josephine Chu with the story.
I lost my legs in a work accident almost 40 years ago now. I worked for a beer distributor and I fell into a cardboard compactor and had my legs crushed.
Chris Lenzo had been an athlete all his life. So after the accident that left him a double amputee, he tried sports like wheelchair basketball. 16 years ago, his daughter's dance teacher suggested he try contemporary dance, and he hasn't stopped since.
It motivated me to work harder, to get stronger, so I could do more things. Ashes was definitely the hardest piece I've ever done. I'm strapped to a platform that's 8 feet up in the air and I'm hanging upside down. And it was super difficult just to figure out how to secure me up there.
Lenzo dances with multiple companies, including Momenta and Grit. He performs in about 15 shows a year. Lenzo's wife said watching him perform has helped their 4 daughters see that anything is possible.
Becoming a dance performing artist helped, I think, the kids learn that to a deeper level.
Other dancers said Lenzo pushes them to try more challenging and creative lifts.
We can balance, we can share weight in different ways than we would have just being us.
As a double amputee, Lenzo said dancing shows unexpected ability. For example, his wheelchair allows him to glide across the floor as if he were skating.
And it also humanizes that person. It just like shows a different side.
People with disabilities can do anything and be dancers, and it's not different from anybody who is a dancer.
You can do a lot. There's a lot of things you can try to do and things you can achieve that you might not be doing.
In Oak Park, Josephine Chu, Medill reports.
Thank you, Joe. Now on to a more historic note. Ebony's going to blow us out of the park with this one.
Yes, Thomas, from willing to pitching, baseball in Chicago still lives and breathes. Just walk down any street and you'll see Chicago Cubs jerseys and the Chicago White Sox hats. But how many of you know about the Chicago Leland Giants? I met a historian of all things the Negro League baseball left behind. You will learn something from this, so check it out.
The cool thing about the Negro League, a lot of people don't know, is that it started right here in Bronzeville. In 1920, a guy by the name of Rube Foster, he organized the Negro League right here in 1920, and he was a great pitcher, but he knew he would never play in white baseball. He started this league in 1920, and he lived right across the street from where we're at right now. And it was unfortunate that he only got to see 10 years of the Negro League because he died in 1930.
Almost a century later, this neighborhood is where Rube Foster once lived, here in Bronzeville, only a few blocks away from Flyball's headquarters, where Bruce Gage is carrying on the historical legacy of the Negro League.
The purpose of Flyball is to educate through fashion. We're educating people about Negro League baseball because it's not just Negro League baseball, it's American history.
When it comes to Chicago baseball, Bronzeville is generally not the first neighborhood that comes to mind. But Flyball aims to educate locals about the area's rich sports history through fashion.
We are in about 7 stores across the United States, which features Negro League baseball sweaters. And we have the license from the Negro League Museum in Kansas City, which makes the sweaters authentic and collector's pieces. We're planning to incorporate more merchandise. So right now we have the baseballs, we have neckties, sweaters, dresses, and t-shirts. And we have a permanent showroom at 436 East 47th Street.
Gage said the inspiration for a line of apparel dedicated to this history came in 1992 when he spotted a kid at Wrigley Field wearing a signature Negro League baseball cap.
I was like, wow, okay, if they're gonna wear baseball caps, I'm gonna introduce them to the Negro League baseball caps. So that's how I started in 1992, selling Negro League apparel.
Some people wear their heart on their sleeve, but as for Bruce Gage, he wears his history on his shirts.
Though the Billy Goat may have cursed the Chicago Cubs, it surely hasn't cursed the girl and the goat. Is anybody else getting hungry?
I sure am. Nicole is in the newsroom to tell us something about the culinary industry that we might not know about. Nicole, what's the scoop on the best Chicago restaurants?
Thank you, Thomas. Well, the James Beard Foundation Awards honor the best and the brightest across the board in the culinary industry. In Chicago, Greg Wade won Outstanding Baker for Public and Quality Bread, which supplied more than 100 restaurants with their bread. Kevin Boehm and Rob Katz won Outstanding Restaurateur for their Boca Restaurant Group, and that includes the highly acclaimed Grill and the Goat. Pacific Standard won Outstanding Restaurant Design, and Beverly Kim and Johnny Clark of Parachute won Best Chef. So there's so much to be proud about when it comes to restaurants in Chicago.
Thank you, Nicole. Now, let's do something for our early risers. What do we need to know about our coffee in Chicago? We have Carly from the newsroom to talk more about that. Carly?
Hi, Thomas. We have something for early risers and those who are just trying to get through this Monday morning. Grabbing a cup of coffee or a latte every morning can rack up significantly if you're not careful. So why is it that global coffee prices are going down while the average price of coffee has gone up by $1 over the last 10 years? In 2011, coffee cost $3 a pound. Today, it costs a mere 93 cents. You and I are paying on average $2.70 per cup. Coffee expert Harry Winkler says this trend will continue.
I think the commodity price will continue to drop, but for consumers, they're not going to see savings passed along.
We should continue to be wise where we spend our coins. And speaking of spending coins, buying makeup can be just as important as where we buy our coffee from.
And Carly, you jumped on this story, so tell us a little bit more about this ongoing trend in makeup and what shoppers need to look out for.
Since 1938, after the passing of the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act, manufacturers have not been required to not test their products on animals, but rather to conduct whatever testing was deemed appropriate to maintain the safety of the use of their products. A variety of tests can be used on animals, but they have been banned in countries like India, New Zealand, and Taiwan, just to name a few. Animal rights proponents call makeup that has not been tested on animals cruelty-free. Activist Rosemary Davey has been using products like these since 2009.
It's not just about food, it's about other ways that we exploit animals too.
While shopping for makeup, you may notice the symbol of a leaping bunny or bunny ears on popular brands like Too Faced, CoverGirl, and NYX. These are some examples of brands that vow to not test on animals.
Thank you for that, Carly. Now, I wonder if Kim Kardashian West makeup is cruelty-free. If only we could ask Kanye, but in the meantime, this next guest is someone who's been working side by side with Kanye for years. This Chicago native is going to share with us today some things he has planned for the city of Chicago. Greg Old School Ice Green Lewis was the first A&R on Kanye West's label Good Music, but he's worked on some of Kanye's biggest projects, including My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. He also has his own artist entertainment company, Honest Management. Greg Old School Lewis, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. What's good?
So you've collaborated with Kanye plenty of times, and more recently for his Sunday Service Coachella performance, you were one of the first people that he called. Out of all the times you've collaborated, which one sticks out to you the most?
Oh man, I like to say I lived several lives with my brother. I would say the one that sticks out with me the most is the College Dropout. That was the beginning. I felt like when we were on that journey of trying to make the world see him as an artist and not just a producer, that was probably the hardest and funnest time we had, because we had moved from Chicago to New York to just try to break down those doors, man, and let them know that he was more than just a producer. So that one sticks out to me the most. It was the debut. It was the inauguration, so to speak.
Okay, and this past week, I know that Kanye was here supporting his longtime friend and fashion partner, Virgil, at his Louis Vuitton pop-up, Nike pop-up, and MCA show. What can you tell me about some things you or Kanye have planned as far as music this summer?
I mean, he and I, have collaborated on a few things. Actually, we've been working on what's an album he titled as Yandi for a very long time. And collaborating with Kanye is a process. It's interesting, it's fun, and it's not short because he takes his time with all of his music. So right now, just ideas. I'm one of the people. He has a collective of people. Like you will hear, people in the organization say, I collaborate with Kanye and I work with him on songs and this and that. Mm-hmm. And Kanye does that. All of the creatives around him that he respects, that he feels, can add, to what he's doing. Collaboration with him is like a series of everything from ideas to him bouncing lines off of you to you may come up with an idea, he incorporates that. So right now, I mean, it's around Yandi and, the whole Sunday service thing. And with the Sunday service, that's something that's very close to his heart. Kanye is a devout Christian and, it's all about God and love right now, for him, period. And, Sunday service, that was, I was one of the people when he made, everyone that's close to him knows Kanye has a small list of people he'll contact and bounce ideas off you. And I was one of the first he called 6:30 in the morning with, the whole concept of where he wanted to go with this Sunday service thing.
I'm just curious, how does it feel being in the same atmosphere or the same room as a musical genius such as Kanye? How does that make you feel?
I mean, it feels pretty normal. Simply, it feels pretty normal for me. I mean, for most, it can be extremely exciting. I would be lying if I didn't say that as a very close friend, someone he considers one of his best friends, that I'm still not a fan of him as a creative, as an artist, as a musical genius. I respect and hold that as well. But it feels normal for me because I've been there a long time. Kanye and I are 20 years in on our friendship, our brotherhood, and our back and forth on what we've been doing creatively. So it feels pretty normal to me. Now, what doesn't feel normal is everything around him and everything around it. It's like he creates a circus when he steps outside, and it's not even his intention, is just what comes with making it to that level of success. So that part is more tripped out than just the one-on-one creativity, homie, all that stuff in the room together.
Yeah, I can only imagine. So Old School, you also give advice to people who want to pursue their dreams. It's Monday morning, people are at work or on their way to work. What's some quick advice that you can give us this morning?
Man, do something daily. My thing is do something every day towards your dream or something that you want to accomplish. It's a small, and it's nothing that's too small. You have to do something that gets you a little closer to whatever that is that you're searching for or looking for, or whatever your visions are. And there's no one way to a goal. So I would say just something productive where you can put a check mark in and say, okay, today I did this for my dream, and just try to apply that daily, several times a day if possible.
Thank you so very much for your time and joining us today, Greg. It has been a pleasure.
All right, thanks for having me.
No problem. There's no other place you'd rather be than to be in Chicago for the summertime. Festivals and other live music events transform this city like no other. We can't wait to hear music from all genres all across this city. I think that just about covers everything on this Monday morning.
Everyone, enjoy the rest of your week.
And don't forget to keep it here on Lifestyle 312. I'm Ebony JJ Curry.
And I'm Thomas Ilala Ole.
And don't forget, Mondays don't suck.
Have a great day.